Welcome, everyone. Today we're looking into something really unsettling, a story from the 1980s. It's about a series of, well, frankly, bizarre deaths among Britain's top defense scientists.
Yeah, it's a deeply disturbing sequence of events. And to really get it, you have to remember the time. This is 1982. We're talking peak Cold War.
Right. The tension between the U.S. and the Soviet Union was incredibly high. The nuclear arms race was everything.
Exactly. And the paranoia was intense. Everyone was desperate for any kind of technological edge. Secrets weren't just valuable. They were seen as potentially world-saving.
And right in the middle of this, you have Marconi Electronic Systems, a major British company working on absolutely top-secret defense projects.
Hugely important projects, things like Cosmos, which was an advanced underwater guidance system.
Right.
And even more significantly, they were involved in the U.S. Strategic Defense Initiative.
Star Wars, the
Yeah.
space-based anti-missile system.
That's the one. Designed to, intercept and destroy incoming nuclear missiles from space. The scientists at Marconi working on this stuff, their knowledge was probably among the West's most guarded secrets.
So you can imagine when these specific scientists start dying one after another in really strange ways, well, you can't just brush it off as bad luck.
No, absolutely not. It screams that something else is going on.
Let's get into it. The first death really set the tone, didn't it, back in '82?
It did. Dr. Keith Bowden. He was a leading computer scientist, worked for Marconi. His car went off a bridge in London, crashed into an old rail yard. He died instantly.
And the initial story was an accident?
Yeah, the police first thought, maybe drunk driving, speeding,
Right.
a tragic accident. But his friends immediately pushed back, saying he didn't really drink much, if at all.
Okay, so doubt from the start. But then it got more concrete.
It did. His lawyer hired a private investigator. And this investigator found something crucial.
What was that?
Dr. Bowden had good tires on his car, nearly new. But the investigator found they'd been swapped for old, bald, really dangerous tires.
Wow. So not an accident, deliberate tampering.
Looks like it. Made to look like recklessness, perhaps, but it suggests premeditation.
Yeah.
Someone wanted that car to crash.
And after Bowden, the pace picked up.
It really did. Shortly after, 3 more Marconi scientists died, all ruled suicides, initially at least.
Who were they?
There was Roger Hill, a radar designer, died from a shotgun wound. Then Jonathan Wash, who apparently jumped from a hotel window.
Okay.
And then L.L. Dodger. His death was particularly strange. He fell from the Clifton Suspension Bridge in Bristol.
Bristol. But wasn't he based in London? That's over 100 miles away.
Exactly. Very far from his workplace. And the details were disturbing. He was found with his trousers around his ankles.
What?
Yes. And there was a small, like a needle-sized wound on his buttock.
A needle wound. That's incredibly specific and weird. So were these still called suicides?
The coroner, even then, was very suspicious about all 3 deaths, including Dodger's. But the Bristol connection didn't end there.
Oh. What happened next?
2 months later, another computer scientist, Arshad Sharif, he also travels, seemingly out of the blue, to Bristol.
Again, no connection to the city.
None that could be established. He checked into a hotel, apparently acting strangely, paid with large banknotes. Almost like he was trying to be noticed, maybe?
And how did he die?
This is one of those gruesome ones. He tied a nylon rope around his neck, attached the other end to a tree, got back in his car,
Oh, no.
and slammed down the accelerator. He was decapitated.
That's horrific. Just unbelievably violent for a suicide.
It is, and forensics found something else. A metal rod was discovered near his feet in the car.
A metal rod? Why?
Positioned in a way that it could have been used to jam the accelerator pedal down, meaning he might not have had to keep his foot on it. It could just the whole thing was well-rigged.
Rigged.
Yeah.
Like set up by someone else or
Yeah.
automated.
It raises that possibility, yes. The coroner was furious. He actually said, and this is a quote, "I will not be completing this inquest until I know how 2 men with no connection to Bristol came to meet the same end."
You can understand why. 2 bizarre deaths, same city, no logical reason for them to be there. It's deeply suspicious.
Absolutely. That initial wave, you had the car tampering with Bowden, these supposed jumps and falls. But then the method seemed to shift again.
Right. Between 84 and 87, the deaths continued, maybe even faster, and the methods got, if possible, even stranger.
Yes, the pace increased. And the bizarreness definitely went up a notch. And we start seeing this focus on asphyxiation, but in really elaborate, almost theatrical ways.
What do you mean by theatrical?
Well, think about Richard Pugh. Found in his flat, feet-bound plastic bag over his head and a thick rope coiled around his body.
Bound. How is that suicide?
The official ruling was experimental misadventure, basically an accident during some sort of autoerotic or experimental practice.
Okay, one maybe, but was he the only one?
Not at all. Mark Wisner was found in almost identical circumstances. Feet bound, plastic wrap on his face, also ruled adventurous asphyxiation.
Two top scientists, same company, same incredibly specific and dangerous misadventure. That sounds convenient.
It strains belief, doesn't it? And the asphyxiation theme continues. Dr. John Britton died from carbon monoxide poisoning in his garage.
Okay, car exhaust. That happens, sadly.
It does. But then David Scales was found dead in his car, hose pipe attached to the exhaust. Peter People was found under his car, jammed, with his mouth right by the exhaust pipe, in a position police described as unnatural.
Unnatural how?
Like he was physically awkward, hard to get into voluntarily, perhaps. And then Trevor Knight, another exhaust fumes victim.
So many with exhaust fumes in these binding scenarios. It feels less like coincidence and more like a signature almost, but disguised.
That's certainly one interpretation. And then you have deaths that just seem physically impossible as described.
Like what?
John Whitman. Found drowned in his bathtub. Okay, plausible. But the tub was surrounded by pill bottles and alcohol. Yet the autopsy found zero trace of drugs or alcohol in his system.
So the scene was staged.
It looks like it. And David Sands, he apparently made a sudden U-turn, crashed his car straight into a cafe. But his car was also found to be filled with extra petrol canisters.
Filled with petrol?
Yeah. So when it crashed, it instantly went up in a massive fireball. Again, incredibly dramatic, almost excessively so.
It's like something out of a movie, not a real-life incident. And wasn't there a particularly unbelievable drowning case?
Ah, yes. Shani Warren. This one is maybe the most baffling. She drowned in just 18 inches of water.
18 inches? How?
That's the question. Because her hands were tied behind her back, her feet were bound, and her mouth was gagged.
Bound and gagged, and she drowned herself in shallow water.
According to the official narrative, yes. She somehow supposedly hobbled over to the water while wearing 4-inch high heels.
You're kidding. That's just impossible.
It defies all logic and physical possibility. And get this, on the very same day Shani Warren died, another Marconi scientist died by accidentally falling off a railway bridge.
The same day. The statistical improbability is just staggering. You have this very specific group of people working on highly sensitive projects, dying in ways that are either bizarre, staged, or physically impossible.
Exactly. It reached a point where it couldn't be ignored anymore. The breaking point really came in late 1988, with 2 more deaths, this time involving quite senior figures.
Who were they?
Alistair Beckham, found dead in his garden shed.
How? Another misadventure.
Electrocution. Wires were connected to his chest, plugged into wall sockets. He also had a handkerchief stuffed in his mouth.
Electrocuted himself with wires on his chest and something in his mouth. Again, seems overly complicated for suicide.
It does. And here's a really crucial detail. Within hours of the body being found, before the local police had even really processed the scene properly, men from the Ministry of Defense arrived.
MOD. Why?
They examined the shed, the house, and they took away documents and files. What was in them? Never disclosed.
That suggests state-level interest, doesn't it? Taking files immediately.
It certainly raised a lot of eyebrows. And then, very shortly after Beckham's death, another senior figure, John Barry, died.
Wow.
Almost identically to Beckham. Electrocution. The only real difference was where the wires were attached.
Where?
To the metal fillings in his teeth.
To his teeth. That's incredibly specific. And sinister. The similarity is undeniable.
Absolutely. This level of similarity, the MOD's quick arrival at Beckham's scene, it convinced many people that this wasn't random, wasn't suicide, it was targeted. Professional.
The sheer number was becoming overwhelming. I remember reading that a union leader, Clive Jenkins, called the deaths statistically incredible.
He did. And it wasn't just the UK, remember. This was wider. Other defense figures working on Star Wars-related projects in Europe were also dying or vanishing around this time.
Really? Where?
There was a car bombing in West Germany. Disappearances reported in Sweden and Italy, all linked to similar high-level defense work.
So what was the total count, roughly?
When you add it all up across the West, it was around 25 top defense scientists either killed or disappeared in just a few years.
25? That's not coincident. That's a pattern, a terrifying one. So who could be behind something like this? What were the main theories?
Given the Cold War context, the most obvious theory, the one pushed early on, was the KGB. The Russian conspiracy.
The motive being?
Pure sabotage. Take out the key brains working on Star Wars and other advanced Western defense projects. Cripple the programs, delay them, sow chaos. The varied methods could just be smoke and mirrors, to avoid leaving a clear signature. Makes sense in a Cold War context.
Okay, that's one angle. But was there another major theory?
Yes, and it's perhaps even more chilling. The idea that Western governments, maybe the UK, maybe the US, maybe jointly were involved, that the enemy was internal.
Why would they kill their own scientists?
Several reasons were suggested based on the little snippets that came out. For instance, reports surfaced that many of these scientists were unhappy. Some were apparently about to leave their jobs.
Taking their secrets with them.
Potentially. Or maybe taking knowledge of things they weren't comfortable with. Some had reportedly complained about being asked to do strange, impossible, and unscientific tasks.
What does that even mean, unscientific tasks?
It's vague, isn't it? But deeply suggestive. Were they being asked to fake results? Work on things deemed unethical? We don't know. But several were also known to have scheduled meetings with local politicians just before they died.
To blow the whistle, maybe? Or ask for protection?
It's possible. If that's the case, the motive for silencing them wouldn't be foreign sabotage. It would be internal damage control. Permanently silencing liabilities to stop secrets getting out, either to hostile powers or maybe even to the public or other parts of their own government.
Preventing leaks about the projects themselves, or maybe illegal activities within the projects.
Exactly. And the government's reaction didn't exactly dampen these suspicions. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher flatly denied any foul play and, crucially, refused to hold a public inquiry.
But it's just made people dig harder, I imagine.
It definitely fueled the speculation. That, combined with the MOD swooping in to grab files after Beckham's death, it painted a picture, for some, of an official cover-up.
So, looking back at everything, the sheer number, the bizarre methods, the MOD involvement, the Star Wars connection, it seems impossible this was all just tragic coincidence.
The journalist Tony Collins, who investigated this really thoroughly, concluded pretty decisively that the deaths were, quote, most certainly the result of foul play and that they were connected.
Yet, officially, nothing.
Officially, the cases remain unresolved, a collection of suicides, accidents, and misadventures, steeped in political denial and unanswered questions.
So we're left with this chilling puzzle. Was it a sophisticated campaign by a foreign power, the KGB maybe, taking out key Western assets? A hidden front in the Cold War?
Or was it something arguably darker? Was the threat internal? Were these brilliant minds silenced by their own side because they knew too much, questioned too much, or were about to reveal secrets that certain powers wanted kept buried forever?
It really shows how the high-stakes world of defense and intelligence can lead down some incredibly dark paths. The truth might be stranger and more disturbing than any spy novel.
Especially when you consider what they were working on, technology to stop nuclear war. The irony is that the greatest vulnerability might not have been the technology itself, but the humans who understood it.
A truly unsettling story from the archives. That wraps up our look into the Marconi scientists' deaths. If you found this dive into the unexplained as compelling as we did, please do hit the like button, share the story, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more deep dives into chilling mysteries.
Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.